I always feel like it's a waste to talk about these things. People today are so entranced by the power of celebrity and big budget special effects. It just seems like a waste of breath to mention plot holes and writing. No one's concerned with writing anymore. I still recall when I first saw James Cameron's Avatar, aka Dancing with Smurfs. God, it was so awful. And all any of my friends could say was, well, yeah, if you'd seen it in 3D in the movies on a huge screen, you'd realize how genius it was. There's no band-aid you could put on poorly executed film projects churned out with the sole purpose of cashing in on familiarity with established brands. Not even in 3D. So here are my reasons why I think the RoboCop reboot is going to suck. These reboot movies all have a bad track record. Think Clash of the Titans, Conan the Barbarian, Total Recall, etc. The Legitimizer. What else can be said? You could have put Don Cheadle in that role. Same shit. It doesn't make sense for some multi-billion-dollar corporation to turn their super cop's primary weapon holder into a weak point. It seems counterintuitive. You know that only exists in order to further some silly plot point where it's going to inevitably get damaged and put the hero in a dangerous cliffhanger moment. In the original, the helmet did not keep popping on and off. It stayed on permanently until the start of Act 3 when Murphy was reasserting his humanity and thus should have a human face showing again. Symbolic on so many levels, all too subtle for modern film. This is what bothered me about Spider-Man 2 so much. In our age of smartphones and non-stop NSA surveillance, you wouldn't chance your anonymity by taking your mask off every which way, and then continue to fucking do it. I haven't seen the Dredd reboot, but one tidbit of knowledge that provides a glimmer of hope for that film is that the actor that portrays Dredd never takes his helmet off. I'm pretty sure this is a contractual thing that agents broker. The star must be seen. But then again, the guy playing RoboCop in the reboot isn't Robert Downey Jr., so who knows? Maybe they had such little expectations of his acting, they thought it was a good idea to show more emotion in the face. Removing Officer Ann Lewis in favor of constantly crying Abby Cornish, I think is a bad idea. Because it removes the human element, and also because it undercuts a strong female role. Not a skinny, over-glamorized, strong female in a too-tight police uniform blowing shit up for no reason, but a positive female role. She was tough, she kept Murphy grounded, and although she was as vulnerable as any officer on the job, she wasn't a damsel in distress. Abby Cornish as Clara Murphy looks like every other throwaway female stereotype from every other crap movie that's been made in the last decade. There isn't a single scene in any of the trailers I've seen where she's not making a sandwich or crying or about to cry. But love! Murphy! I love you! This is where I get slightly, perhaps uncomfortably political. But doesn't it seem like such a propaganda film, devoid of any real moral or message, especially in this age of decreasing privacy, increasing militarization of police, and the ever-expanding totalitarian reach of the law? That doesn't even touch on the domestic drone threat and megatech corporate entities like Google buying up all the top military robotics companies recently. I see so much fodder for social commentary being thrown to the wayside to add more explosions and special effects. To put it in other words, Hollywood has no intention of altering the studio blockbuster formula that celebrates paint-by-numbers conventionality, cheap romanticisms, CGI, gratuitous violence, etc., etc. Paul Verhoeven's original RoboCop was a story of a born-again cyborg thrust into a society fueled by corporate profit. It successfully delivered big-budget spectacle while subtly satirizing the structural forces that define our present-day lives. It targeted militarism, corporatocracy, and the propaganda machines that dominate the public discourse. Everything you see today. Ironically, all the subtext, symbolism, and wit of the original will be totally removed in service of the things Verhoeven's RoboCop stood against.